like maybe the newspaper.
It's on TV. She's on 9news.com.
Lydia, run into the fire with me. Sunday! Oh, he's near it. He's doing it. Hey! Now we gotta wait another 30 minutes for this.
The fire burning near Silverthorne is literally just down the street. Yeah, kiddo.
Bye, Lydia. Okay, bye.
There are mandatory evacuations. Oh yeah, you're good. Thanks.
not. You guys can walk on by if you want.
We're just gonna say hi to you.
Oh, how's it going?
It's been better.
Oh, this thing's way over on that other hill.
Yeah.
A little close.
Nothing to
close
worry
to
about.
home, but
The good thing about Willowbrook is,
we got a river and a road between us.
yeah. Not for up there. I'd be nervous if I had those expensive homes.
Yep.
The ones that they just finished building for a couple of million, eh?
A little nervous if I was those guys. But it's pushing up the hill.
Is it going up?
Yeah. And it's going to get down to 47 degrees tonight. So that fire's not going to burn tonight.
So is up good on that? Isn't that a bunch of dried pine beetle?
Up's a lot better than down.
Because homes.
Because of homes. And
Because it looks like they're dumping water below.
yeah, they got water and slurry below, plus those aspen trees, which, they're burning, but aspen they don't burn like
Yeah.
those trees will. So
There's dead pines above them.
it goes up into that. It gets big enough, I guess, you'd have a problem. Well, you won't have a whole lot of problem. It's going to jump that hill. If it moved east, it'd have to be a really big fire before it got to the mine up there. No, I'm doing this. There's a meeting too?
At the pavilion right now, there's a briefing.
I need to go there.
Yeah, I think
Town briefing.
town briefing at 7. Good luck.
Thanks.
That's when Bruce
Thanks for
said you were
telling
here.
me.
I'm like, I'm surprised he's not there.
Well, we're just doing live stuff. So I was doing
Okay, like they're out here doing this already. That's good. Did you see the start of it? Celebration was at 4:22. I was driving from Briscoe, turned the corner on the highway, and just saw one little pillar. Boom. And then
and then boom.
it's grown. But it hasn't grown that much in the last hour.
It really hasn't.
That's a
Because
good
it's starting to
thing,
get cold.
right?
All the work they're doing. Way too good. Sorry, I can't talk more.
No.
I am highly distracted.
If you do go to the meeting, you might want to put shoes on.
Thank you. I would have forgotten that.
name is Jamie Fitzsimons. I am your sheriff. These fires are really complicated. As you can see, it's alarming when you look up on the hill, especially a fire as visible as this one. Right? It's alarming. There are different people here. This fire is in the National Forest. It's kind of on the forest wilderness boundary, which Deputy District Ranger Chris Stewart will talk about. Obviously, Summit Fire and EMS are the first firefighters on scene to start fighting this, along with the U.S. Forest Service. Where the sheriff comes in this fire is immediately when Chief Davis and I got together and started talking about evacuations. That's obviously where the sheriff's office got involved, because Hamilton Creek is unincorporated Summit County, but we have Angler Mountain Ranch, which is the town of Silverthorne. So things get a little complicated. There are approximately, well, let me back up. The reason why we decided to start the evacuations was obviously because the winds had started to change and they started blowing north. As you saw, you could follow the smoke plume, right? It's the easiest way to follow what the fire was doing. And when the plume started blowing north and we knew the fire was blowing north, we knew that we should probably start evacuating the top of Hamilton Creek first. And then thinking that put lower Hamilton Creek into a pre-evacuation stage, and then obviously Angler Mountain into a pre-evacuation, thinking that tonight if that fire was to run downhill, if that wind was to change again, that would change what we did. So that's why we initiated the evacuation. There's approximately 291 homes up there in Hamilton Creek. There's another 57 in Angler Mountain. And again, we made a mandatory evacuation to that top loop of Hamilton Creek. As you can see, when the air assets finally showed up, because we were all waiting for them to show up, I don't know if you've seen it, since we all came in here, but it dramatically changed the fire. Before I walked in the door here, I got an update that the fire is now 25 to 35 acres, or 25 to 30 acres, with active fire on all sides, and the wind is starting to calm down. So that's what I know so far. Any questions for me? Yes.
Is it gonna hit Palmer's Drive?
I don't think so. Is that where you live? That's a great question.
Thank you for asking.
Thanks, Steve. That was a great question. Oh,
One more question. South 40, are we under pre-evac?
no, you are not currently.
Thank you.
And hopefully you should, and these guys will talk about this, because not a firefighter, right? But I'm statutorily responsible for wildfire. But that fire should change here with the temperatures dropping. As we all know, it's been getting below freezing at night. And it's been getting really cold, and we're expecting weather to move in, so over the next few days. So that's all good news. Okay?
Sure. How much time, well, I know that you can't answer this question, but when you decide that we can go back in, do you have any kind of idea on that? I know it's.
I don't, but
silly
it'll
question,
all
but-
depend on what's going on with that fire when
Yeah.
we leave here.
Right.
And then, we'll all get together and we'll all talk
Right.
about how safe we feel to go back in.
And then we'll get a message on the
Yes.
phone, I guess.
Just the same way we'd be getting the messages to evacuate?
Yes,
Okay.
I know where you're going with that. They're gonna get straightened out.
Okay.
It seems there was a little technological glitch. It seems to be fixed. If not, you'll hear me yelling. The old fashioned way. We used to be on a speaker, right? Anybody else? All right, guys, listen, your safety obviously is our primary concern, and that's why we launched what we did. So a little bit of grace, right? Thank you.
Thank you.
And just to that point about further information, further notifications, thanks to people like Phil from Crystal 93, the Summit Daily News, we're using local media. We're also using all of our social media channels, Summit Fire and EMS, the U.S. Forest Service's White River National Forest social media. and the town of Silverthorne social media. We're trying to amplify everyone's messages so that you all are getting the quickest information correctly when it is available.
Basically, right now, we're still just in the early stages, and the firefighters are kind of reconning how to get in to this area. Basically, their overall objectives is to keep fire out of that Hamilton subdivision and the surrounding communities. Basically, did what they could for the evening. Tomorrow we have ground resources on order, and we have all those air resources back and available to us tomorrow. Once again, it says it's just in the early stages. The UCR, which is the Forest Service and BLM fire staff, are on scene along with Summit Fire and UMass. And we just kind of want to also tell everybody, or reiterate that the weather is in our favor in the next few days. It is supposed to be cooling down, and there is some weather systems supposed to be coming in. That's all I have.
I have a question. Last night, 60 Minutes, they had this piece on the Chinooks that could fight fires at night, and it looks like the same airplane that we had 60 Minutes last night that's in the area. Do you know if that Chinook is equipped to fight fires at night?
It is not. I'm not aware of anything of being set up with that system here currently. That's definitely a specialty.
So it's sundown. They're now. They have a little bit of light yet for another half hour tops. After that, what sorts is going to be up there during the evening? Anything? Anybody on the ground? Anybody up there? Or what?
Right now, UCR staff is on the ground, and they will be mounting the fire through the night. I said the UCR, the upper Colorado River. That's what we call our fire staff. It's joint White River National Forest and local BLM Forest Service or for fire resources. Yes, they're going to be staffing it all night. I said right now they don't have the hand crews. They're on their way. They're on order right now. So those folks are basically on the ground, keeping an eye on what's going on, how to get in, how the lines that the aircraft created for us tonight are handling right now. Basically, they're going to be keeping their eye on everything in case we need to work with our partners if things did shift, or once those ground resources get here, they're ready to go.
As of right now, the only thing that is evacuated right now is Hamilton Creek and Hanger. They're the only evacuation areas right now.
The top of Hamilton Creek,
Okay.
Lakeview, the loop, and then the rest is all in pre-evac, meaning just telling
Yeah.
people be prepared.
So it hasn't come.
And then
as far
Ingram
as
Mountain is
now.
also a pre-evac.
Okay.
And-
All of Ptarmigan Mountain is pre-evac.
Yeah, well, Ptarmigan Mountain's not in pre-evac, just Ingram Mountain.
Okay. Thank you.
If that went out in the glitch, that was a glitch.
And as far as the Forest Service goes, we do have our public affairs office updating things on our social media as we get new information. As far as anything dealing with evacuations, please look at all the sheriff's websites because they're the experts in that.
So if we live in the area, we should keep our phone next to our ear tonight.
Yes.
Okay.
And
As-
I will
as we
just
are-
offer, pre-evacuation is a pretty good alert for you that you
Well,
should be
I'm
packing.
across, but
Okay,
I still, you still wanna know.
absolutely. Yeah, it's always keep your phone near you during fire season. I was just gonna say, for those who are on pre-evacuation, don't take that lightly. Pack up, be ready to go if things change. We're not expecting them to change, but be ready to go.
I think with the warning about maps and soon the tree back, who do I let know that I'm out of the house?
Great question. You can actually just as simply as tape a note to your door that says firefighters, I'm out of here.
I don't think I'm on the map. I mean, are you doing anything with the numbers?
So what'll happen is when if it went to an evacuation stage, the deputies will go door to door, and they will. If you're not home.
Good. Thanks, Chris.
Thank you.
Let me bring up Fire Chief Travis Davis from Summit Fire and EMS. Talk a little bit about fire behavior. I also see that we've got our representatives from the American Red Cross who will be able to talk a little bit about any assistance that evacuees may need.
So everybody join me in a collective breath, if you will. I understand from the citizens' perspective how this looks, but there's a lot of things, and I'll share this information. First and foremost, I'm joined tonight by our Deputy Chief of Operations, John Wilkerson. Kelly Wagner is our battalion chief. He was our first new incident commander on scene. You gotta be masked, it's harder. We have a mic. You don't mind if I take the mask off?
That's good.
I'm not gonna start over, I'll just say welcome. Thanks everybody for coming out. We realized early on that there were some issues with communications, as we were working to try and fix those glitches. We thought it would be best to have this format so we could end these, and it took off. What's happening up there now is what we call a dirty burn. So what the fire's doing is it's skunking around on the ground. It's not very big until it finds this jackpot of dead trees, and then it just takes off. So an evacuation notice and a pre-evacuation notice, folks, it really is for the sole purpose of timing. You know, there's been some concern in the community, all of Summit County here lately, about, evacuation and what's that going to look like. It's up to my staff, our Forest Service counterparts, the Sheriff's Office, to really stay out front of what's going on and make certain that we institute these tactical objectives early so it doesn't get ahead of us. And so that's what we did today. When we started seeing the fire lop over that one ridge and it started pushing to the north as that storm was moving through, we started seeing a few spot fires, and that was a good trigger point for us to just activate the mandatory evacuation for that upper circle and put everybody else in a pre-evacuation notice state. So I know that this is not normal for the citizenry to have to go through these exercises, but keep in mind that let's keep the whole thing in perspective, that these are all precautionary measures to make certain that we're keeping the community safe. Okay? Anything else on that? Any questions?
Could you state again what the pre-evacuation area is? Is it everything?
I'm sorry,
The pre-evacuation.
the period, or what
No,
exactly?
She wants to know what exactly is on pre-evac right now.
Pre-evac.
So the pre-evacuation is everything south of, what's the name of the road, Jay?
Lakeview.
Lakeview Circle. So everything that's south of or below Lakeview Circle up on Hamilton Creek is in pre-evacuation. Everything over in Angler Mountain is pre-evacuation.
We haven't, if this event were taking off like you see some fires do, it wouldn't be, we would be very specific. If it was going to encroach on Angler Mountain Ranch and the next thing we needed to worry about was South 40 and Flyline Drive area, it would be very specific instructions for the subdivisions that we wanted to evacuate. So if you're not in Angler Mountain Ranch or below that circle that's been evacuated up there, you're pre-evacuation right now. And that simply, as Steve said, take this as an opportunity to kind of check and see what you have available, what it would look like. And I'm not saying you have to go so far as the back of your car. I certainly appreciate everybody being cognizant of the potential. But keep in mind, because this fire is a dirty burn, because it's just looking for dead and down trees, it doesn't have that big flaming wall that you see on a lot of big fires. And so it's not throwing huge embers out front and starting spot fires. It really is just kind of skunking around until it finds something that's dry enough it can burn. It shoots it up into the air, we see a little black smoke, and then it just kind of lays back down. So because we don't have the right conditions, the high heat, the low humidity, the winds, what it's doing right now is pretty much what you're going to see. Tomorrow morning they'll get on it first thing. We got the weather that's moving in. I really don't think we're going to see much growth. I mean, if anything, more burning on the interior, which is good because it'll clean up the mess that it's making, and then it creates a little bit of a fire break for us for next year.
But do you know the turn time on the air tankers for dropping retardant?
It really just depends on where they're coming from. Now, the 2 seats, the single engine air tankers, those 2 little aircraft that you saw at first, those were out of Kremling, I believe, and they actually have a fill station there. I'm sorry, Chris, you can correct me if I'm wrong, but when you're talking like the heavy air tankers, the 1.4 engine, that's what we refer to as a heavy air tanker. If it was a 747, that's the very large air tanker, and those are the ones that can make multiple drops. They have to come either Front Range, the former Jeffco Airport, or all the way down in Grand Junction. So it's a significant turnaround time for those aircraft.
And is that helicopter that was up there tonight, is he going to be back tomorrow?
Yeah, absolutely. Along with, I'm certain what we're going to find is the need for additional aircraft. They also have what they call an air attack platform, and so what that is it's a plane that flies at 40,000 feet, and it kind of is the crossing guard for all the planes that are working the incident. It kind of coordinates everything from an elevated position. It coordinates all the drops and the communications that are going on the ground. And so that was that didn't arrive on station first, but it was here shortly after the 2 seats arrived on scene. This call came out at around 4:30. It initially started as just a small column of smoke. It was way up in the trees. You know, we get the questions, why didn't you jump on it quick, fast, in a hurry? Well, let's look at that from the perspective of boots on the ground. You know, they say anything more than 6 or 8 foot flame lengths, that's engine work. When you're in that much fuel and that much dead fuel, putting people on the ground without having air assets in the area, you're looking for trouble, and you'll get it. That's truly what happens.
Just wondered if the high altitude observation plane had infrared, and will it be circling overnight?
They won't be circling overnight. They really are just there to manage the aircraft that are on station. The one asset that we do have in Colorado is the multi-mission aircraft, and they do have infrared. However, unfortunately, right now they're tied up in another region working fires elsewhere. But they may be back on station tomorrow, and we would have them then. That's what we utilize. Unless something's changed, that's what we utilize to ascertain exact ownership, property, size of the fire, and so on.
Good. The chief will be here for more questions. We have an update from the sheriff, but we want to let everyone know as soon as possible here.
I just got an update from Fire Command, Forest Service over there, and they want to move the Hamilton Creek subdivision, the entire subdivision, into a mandatory evacuation. So I wanted you guys to hear from me before your phones start.
So Sheriff, what happens if we have folks from Hamilton Creek in here right now?
So we'll let you know, it's not at an emergency stage. This is why we're doing this slowly. So you'll be able to go back up if you need to go. If you're in here here and need to go back up in there, you'll be able to go back up in there. But again, I just wanted to tell you before the message got out and we had some glitch.
You
Just
can't
kidding.
get on Lakeview Circle though, you guys have already closed it off.
Yes, but I'm talking about the rest of the neighborhood.
Yeah.
Okay.
And keep in mind, just because it's,
Or just be more careful.
Does
that mean there's movement in the fire?
So the fire is still active. Like I said, they said 30 acres or so. It's still active. They just don't like how close it is to that to Lakeview Circle. And they would feel, we'd all feel more comfortable, right, being safer than sorry.
I live up by the water tower, so I'm here.
this is all precautionary.
This is all precautionary. If it wasn't, I'd be telling you to get in your car and go. So, question?
When we leave our house, what are we supposed to do? I know it's Dollar Lake,
So the Red Cross is gonna talk about that.
turn off electricity or gas or that stuff.
Yeah, they're well. Here comes the Red Cross. Now.
Thank you.
Any other questions for me? Yes.
Power lines,
Yes.
how close are they to the power lines?
I don't know the answer to that. Deb, sorry.
Major distribution.
Yes. And the Forest Service is aware of that. And that goes for, just so you guys all know, all critical infrastructure. When we're fighting these fires, we're aware of where all the critical infrastructure is. Whether we can protect it or not, obviously depends on fire behavior. But all of those concerns are mapped out, and we're aware of all of them.
Can I ask you one last thing? We've got all our stuff out. Do you want us to go back up and put a note on the door?
No.
No, because they'll knock on the door and figure out you're not there.
Thank you. So let me introduce Summit County Commissioner Elizabeth Lawrence, and then we'll have some information provided by the American Red Cross.
Yeah. Thanks, y'all. As Steve said, I'm your Summit County Commissioner, Elizabeth Lawrence. Know how important this is to Summit County, and I live in Breckenridge and immediately rushed over here because you guys are our community too, and this is really important. And so the collaboration is huge here. I see reps from town of Frisco, they're supporting you as well. We've got town of Silverthorne obviously hosting this, critical to this. Forest Service, Summit Fire and EMS, the Sheriff's Office, us at the county, as well as the Red Cross, all here really to support you guys. You might have questions as this moves on about what do I do with my dog, what do I do with animals, etc. We have all of those resources in place, and as it gets to that, we will be rolling out information. We do have Summit County Animal Control, and Sheriff oversees that, and they'll be happy to assist, and they have services that are set up just for that. If you are in a pre-evac area or evacuation, this is a time to be neighborly. Please reach out. I know we're in times of COVID, and that's a little intimidating sometimes, so please check on your neighbors. Make sure, think about your neighbors that maybe aren't here all the time. Think, have you seen them lately? Are they getting the info? Especially if they're a second homeowner and maybe they're not clued into all of our emergency alert channels. Please do your part and try to help us reach them. Depending on tomorrow, you could see road closures and delays in various areas. That is all set up to fight the fire and really important. So let's do what we can to stay out of folks' way to make sure that people in helicopters can get across the road and do what they need to do. I would just urge you again, make sure you're set up for Summit County alerts. Those are important. They will come in chronological order more times than not, so you will see the most up-to-the-date information, as well as all of our social media channels. Steve does a great job, and we're all committed to supporting you guys, throughout the night, whatever it takes, as long as this takes, to make sure you're getting the most up-to-date information there. If you do go home, I'd remind you, please get your phone chargers, your medication, those sorts of things that maybe in a rush you wouldn't think about, but you might need, and let us know if we can assist you on anything like that. So again, thank you for being here, and please know we support you in this. Yes.
So I had signed on to the Silverthorne alert system, but I'm not getting them. So I need a website or something that I continue to let
Okay,
them.
we'll find you in just a second. Do that. Thank you. All right.
Those of us who've been locked out, all that stuff we need is still there. We can't get.
That's a great question. So maybe pull one of us aside after. We'll find out kind of what the protocol is. If someone can go back in for you, for your safety, etc.
I did ask that question when I came down through, and he said once it's under full evacuation, you cannot go
You're not going back, okay? And I know our local pharmacies all have like an emergency exemption in times like this as well, so. Deb.
More question for the sheriff. I've been seeing drones. From my house, I can see drones.
Great point.
So
I think, yeah.
So yeah, drones are illegal when there's a wildfire going on, especially when the Forest Service has air assets in the air. So if you see them, call and we'll try to dial them in. No, what I
We'll be sure to get that added in to remind folks, and that's something I can do on the illustrious One Man's Junk Summit County. Don't believe everything on there about fire, but we can certainly put on there, just as a reminder, don't fly drones, etc. Thank you, Deb, for bringing that up. Hi.
Do you know the sequence of like the neighborhoods going south, like it was Hamilton, what's next? South 40.
South 40.
South 40?
Well, in the Angler Mountain Ranch, which Angler Mountain Ranch has a lot of density in there. There's the paired
I
homes,
just mean for
etc.
the alert, so say it's middle, cause I'm late stage 3.
Uh-huh.
So when, I just need to know, we're on the TYL Ranch, and I've got 20 horses.
Yes.
So I need to know, like, when do I start?
Yeah.
So if it says South 40, I should probably think about that again.
So Sheriff, she's asking,
currently we're
she's
just talking about Hamilton Creek.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
she's asking because she has 20 horses in
Yeah.
TYL Ranch.
With the notifications that go out, if you start to see, pre-evacuation notices for the South 40 area, then absolutely, you're gonna be next, and it's gonna continue to go that way if it gets to that point. So as far as a trigger point for you, I would say Hamilton.
Is South 40.
Sorry, South 40.
Yeah. Thanks, Travis. Sorry, Chief. Hi.
There are firefighters on the ground right now, but they can't go in the area.
Well, the hand crews, Chris, I believe that was you. They will be here. Is it tomorrow, Chris?
Yes, right now we just have the local fire staff, and they're kind of around, basically looking for access points and keeping an eye on things. Once we get ground resources here, which should happen first thing tomorrow morning, they'll go in and actually start building the fire line.
Thanks for being here.
Sir, I believe you had a question.
Yeah, so we're out. We've been hanging around. There's no chance we're getting back in on Lakeview Circle tonight, right?
Lakeview, let me say this, because we just told everyone to get out of there, we're gonna try to provide access up there. So do you need to get up there?
That's not the problem.
No, he means will he be staying, sleeping in his bed?
Go back
No.
into my house tonight, be allowed back in, right?
Probably not.
That's all I need.
Okay.
A decision like that would most likely be once there's light, they can get a better idea, etc. So in the morning.
Elizabeth, that's a good point, if I may, real quick. Keep in mind, folks, that what you see tonight is gonna be a lot different from what you saw today. You're gonna look up on the mountainside and you're gonna be like, wow, that thing's huge. Keep in mind, we're looking at 25 to 30 acres, and it's a dirty burn, so you're gonna see multiple hot spots. But we do, to your question, we do have firefighters on the ground up there tonight. SMB, Southern Fire EMS, your fire department will be there. Our Fed partners will be there along with law enforcement. We will have a presence up there. And if something were to change drastic conditions overnight, it's not gonna have to be monitored like somebody who, got up in the middle of the night to get a cup of water and looked out their window.
Good, and for assistance for evacuees or anyone who needs help, Jan with the American Red Cross local chapter is here to tell you a little bit about some of the services that it can provide.
Good evening. I know this is not an easy time. Your team here, we've done several of these, and it doesn't ever get easier. So understand that we're here for you. And having said that, text messages, everything are flying right now. Summit County Emergency Management has activated us to get a shelter set up. We're just waiting to hear where. Law enforcement is involved. They're going to get us opened up and get us going. So what I would ask, if you need a place to stay, you need a roof over your head, you need to come in for a bottle of water or whatever, watch your phones, watch the announcements. We're going to ask Steve and his team to make sure you get the announcements out. We will get something set up as quickly as we can. It takes a few minutes, well, more than a few minutes, but it's not the middle of the night yet, so I think we can all take care of ourselves for a little while. And we will get set up, we will send a notification out, and we will have shelter for you. Any questions? Yes?
Do you have a list of local people who will take folks in?
We do not do that. The Red Cross cannot do that. Mainly it's a liability issue. If you want to do it through Facebook or something like that without including us, go for it. I've lived in the county for many, many, many years, and I know that's a very good option. But we can't get involved in that. But good question. Anything else?
Are we
Yes.
supposed to turn our electricity off to the house when we leave?
I need either a fireman or I need someone else for that one.
I don't think at this point, I think just leave the utilities on, same reasons, and you don't have any issues there. If we get to that point later on, there will be means established to contact you, or we'll send people in ourselves.
Okay, thank you very much.
I think it's Jamie, it's probably worth mentioning here, there's gonna be a flurry of activity tomorrow, and we'll probably, if the storms don't move in until the afternoon like they're predicted to do, we'll see this thing stand up again tomorrow and find some more fuel to consume. So let's, we want to keep an eye on your social media. I'm thinking that we'll have another one of these.
Yeah, we still don't know when yet.
Yeah. So we'll set that up, and I hope that we have a larger group. Thank you all for coming.
I have one more thing. Would you please, even if you don't come to stay in our shelter, if you would come by, give us your name and address so we have a safe and well, so we know you. We will be a focal point for knowing you're safe, you're not in your home, and we can keep a list of that. It's perfectly private. We will not tell anybody unless you give us permission to. But we want to be able to work with everybody here to be able to say, yeah, the people at 123 Main Street, we got them out and they're safe. So please come by. We don't know yet. Watch your thing. Everything, all my texts are flying. We just
The
don't know
shelter's
yet.
gonna be at Summit Middle School.
Yeah, okay. I wasn't supposed to
No,
say
no.
it, but you
But
can.
yeah.
I'm sorry. You have a question as well. Oh, I'm sorry. That's okay. Okay, let's just let
About
one more question.
an hour to stand it up.
Two more questions. Why isn't Excel cutting the power? That's a good question.
Excel is at our command post, so they're there. Those are their decisions. I can't tell you what they are, and maybe they are. I don't know, but they are there. They're on scene.
When we find
So
out
when
where
you
you
say
are.
if we did
Some of the school.
Some of
As in
those.
Frisco.
Well,
Yes.
kids, you can come talk to me or the
Oh,
Red
no, I
Cross.
mean like at 2 in the morning.
Yes, that's a great question.
Who do we call?
Well, if you need assistance at 2 a.m., I think it depends on what kind of assistance that is. But certainly you can always call non-emergency dispatch, which is
The police?
668
8600. Yeah, 668 8600. And they can always direct that appropriately.
And if it is an emergency, call 911. Don't hesitate to call 911. Hey, thank you all. We realize this was short notice, but we appreciate your interest. We're going to do our best here.
Thank you.
Rains in the forecast through Sunday.
I don't think 70% tomorrow. That's